Today I'll be reviewing one of the most recognizable sedans in the United States, a 2023 Toyota Camry. This one is the XLE Hybrid, which means it's fully loaded with all the gadgets and goodies, plus this Camry gets great fuel economy. So if you're in the market for a good-looking sedan that's very practical, that's a great daily commuter, and one that's very fuel efficient, well, you come to the right place. So let me tell you more about this brand new Camry. All right, I'm behind the wheel. Let me tell you more about this brand new Camry and tell you about how this Camry drives. So is this really a brand new Camry? Let's be honest, this Camry, this generation debuted back in 2018. So this is now the 5th year. Does that mean a new Camry is right around the corner? Quite possibly. Now, Toyota did do a mid-cycle refresh a couple years ago in 2021. They refreshed a couple things on the outside and on the inside, but quite frankly, it still all looks pretty much the same to me. I can't tell what's been refreshed on the outside or on the inside. So pretty much it's the same car as 5 years ago. So I'm not going to talk about the exterior too much because I'm sure many of you guys have seen a million Camrys out on the road. But overall, if you're looking at the front end with that large mouth bumper, to the side profile, to the rear, I think the Camry still looks pretty decent, even after 5 years of no changes. Now, if you wanted to be a bit more aggressive, then look at the SC or the SC Nightshade or the XSE, because the front end is different. You can have a different color roof, right? And if you wanted to go extreme, you could look at the Camry TRD as that huge rear wing and the side skirts. But even if you wanted neutral, like this XLE still looks like a pretty good sedan. Now, what about the inside? Do I feel the same way about the inside? No. Unfortunately, I do feel like the inside feels very dated. Over the last 5 years, I reviewed many new cars and many refreshed cars, and the interior of this Camry just feels not up to par. I mean, overall, the placement of things are still fine, but the fit and finish, the build quality, some of the technology, just behind the competition. Okay, so to start out, let me show you the infotainment screen. This is a 9-inch screen, and the interface is old. The graphics, the resolution, everything about this screen just screams, change me, change me, change me. Now, a lot of the new Toyotas on the market today have changed their infotainment system. And not only system, the screen, the interface, everything. The new Sequoia, the new Highlander, the new Tundra, even the new RAV4. The screen have been changed in those models with a new interface, and the touchscreen itself is just brighter, more responsive, and the resolution is much better. This one is still the same as 5 years ago, and it's just so. It works, but it doesn't work that well. And as for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, yes, this does support them, but not the wireless versions of them, which a lot of sedans do these days, right? So this infotainment system isn't up to par, in my opinion. Now, the climate control is right underneath, right? And it gets the job done. Dual zone climate control with auto function, right? Pretty easy to figure out. But where's the heated and ventilated seats? Well, you do get it in this Camry. It's just not on the dash. It's on the center console. The buttons for it just looks so dated. I can't explain it. It works, but it looks dated. Underneath, you see, yeah, you have only one USB port, and then you have one 12V outlet, and then you have a wireless charger. So the wireless charger, I would say that's cool because I like the placement, and plus you could slide it open and you have some storage underneath. I think the placement of that is pretty good. And then you have a few more buttons for your drive modes. I don't really mind that. These days, most cars have like a knob that you turn or something like that. But you know, you have a normal, sport, and eco mode, right? That's pretty self-explanatory. Because it's a hybrid, you have an EV mode. So if you wanted your Camry to be in EV mode only, it can do that until it runs out of charge. Now, some of the other features that you'll get inside, well, you get a power sunroof, which is great, but it's not a panoramic one. Also, you do get a heads-up display, a 10-inch heads-up display. That's pretty good, but there's no dedicated button to turn it off. You have to fumble inside your gauge cluster to turn it on or off. Now, besides the 9-inch infotainment screen and the 10-inch heads-up display, there's also a 7-inch screen inside your gauge cluster. It's just in the middle. You have 2 analog gauges still, but inside the middle, you can see various things. I think a lot of you guys know what you'll see, like trip computer and your settings, the safety systems you could turn off and on, your heads-up display, all that stuff. But the thing is, the thing I have to criticize about it is it's very dim. Even on the highest brightness level, it's very dim. So today, it's a very bright day, and I can't read it that clearly. So that's the one downside. You have a heated steering wheel, so that's good. And also you have a 360 bird's eye view. And I've criticized Toyota for this because, and you have this 3D bird's eye view, which quite honestly is so dated. I'm not even sure why Toyota still uses it. I mean, if you click on it, you have to wait like 30 seconds before it spins around your car. And you know, the thing is, it's not just with this Camry. That is placed in all the other Toyota cars, pretty much, if configured, and Lexus, and it's just so slow. There's no purpose for it. All the other cars that have it, it's like instantaneous, right? This one is just so dated. I'm not sure why Toyota can't update that. But with all the cameras, the good thing is if you do reverse, you get a 360 view of what's around your Camry, and then of course the different views to go in the back. But because of this screen, right, the resolution really sucks. It's like blowing up a small image, you know, it's all pixelated. So yes, even though you do see it on this large 9-inch screen, everything is just so pixelated, and it just makes this car feel outdated. One thing that I do like about the interior are these seats. The seats up front and in the rear are still very comfortable. I think the seats themselves look good. Not the fanciest design, but they don't look too shabby. And with the XLE, you do get real leather. And overall, the comfort is good. The bottom cushion feels good. The back feels good. So the seats overall are pretty good. And there's plenty of space. In the rear, I'm 5'10". You can see behind my driving position, still about 3 inches of leg room and about 3 inches of headroom. So in the rear, passengers, pretty comfortable. You do get a pair of vents, and unfortunately, that's it though. Rear passengers will not be able to charge. There are no USB ports, no outlets at all. They are optional, and that's really unfortunate. So you do get comfortable seats, plenty of space in the back, but you're missing out on a few things. And up front, I do think plenty big too. No problems with space. And up front, I would say visibility is quite good. Even though this Camry is very aggressive, the front windshield is very raked. Side windows still pretty big. Blind spot is good. Rear window's good. And even with the raked windshield, overall visibility is good. Now, besides interior space, for the trunk, you do get an adequate amount of space. Take a look. If it's not big enough, you can fold down the second row seats, although they don't fold completely flat, but still allows you to put larger items in the rear. However, if you're comparing this to some of the competition, it's a little bit small, on the smaller side. So keep that in mind. And obviously, it's not going to be nearly as big as a SUV, which has a lot more trunk space. But I would say the trunk is adequate. Now, what about the drive? Well, the interior cabin is pretty quiet with the asterisks. For the most part, while you're driving, it's pretty quiet. You're not going to hear much from the outside. Today is actually pretty windy. Not a whole lot of wind noise or road noise. But when you do floor it or just accelerate heavily, you're going to hear a lot from this engine, because this hybrid engine is made into a CVT transmission, and CVTs definitely give you a lot of drone. It's the same combination found in a RAV4 hybrid that I just tested recently. So that's the asterisk. For the most part, you're getting a pretty quiet ride unless you accelerate hard. Then you're going to get a lot of drone. Now, the suspension of the Camry Hybrid, I would say, is good. It's comfortable, not too floaty, I would say. Still a decent amount of control around bends and curves. Not the most aggressive. Again, if you want a really aggressive suspension, then you could look at a Camry TRD. That one was actually really, really well tuned, and I have tested that before. But as for this one, I think it's perfectly good, perfectly fine for daily commutes or wherever you may be going. The steering also, I actually do like the steering. The steering wheel itself, good looking, not the most modern looking, but it's good looking, nice simple buttons, but the steering feel itself is good. There's not a whole lot of steering play, just a little bit, but there's a heaviness to it that makes me feel like I'm more in control. Combined with the comfortable suspension and the quiet ride, I would say the overall drive is quite comfortable. And I think most people that will be getting a Camry or driving a Camry daily will be quite satisfied. Now, as for acceleration, I just tested 0 to 60 and it took a long time as expected. So this one is using a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder combined with electric motor. Total output is about 208 horsepower, which doesn't seem all that bad on paper. But when you compare it to the very powerful 3.5 liter V6, there's a world of difference. But this is perfectly adequate for just normal driving, right? Daily commutes, stop and go traffic, perfectly fine. If you want to accelerate, it's fine. But if you're trying to accelerate hard, you're going to be disappointed. And like I said, when you do floor it or accelerate hard, you go get that drone. There's a ton of drone because of the CVT transmission. Unfortunately, that happens. But the trade-off is you get amazing fuel economy. You get 44 miles per gallon in the city and 47 on the highway. That's amazing. And if you wanted even more fuel economy, you can look at the lower trim, which I'll talk about in a little bit, the LE, and then you're getting 50 plus MPGs. That one is amazing, but even this one is amazing. So for those of you guys that don't care too much about speed and passing power and all that nonsense, you just want something that's comfortable and fuel efficient, right? Especially if you want something fuel efficient, then you should definitely look at this Camry Hybrid. As I'm coming to a stop, the regenerative braking also, I feel, is pretty light. With a lot of hybrid cars, EV cars, the brake pedal, the overall brake feels different because of regenerative braking, because the car is trying to regenerate some energy back. With this Camry Hybrid, I feel it a little bit, but isn't that bad. It really isn't that bad. So overall, that's good. Now, as for pricing, there are 5 different trim levels to the brand new Camry Hybrid. The base is the LE and it starts around $28,300. Then you have the SE Hybrid, right under $30,000. You have the SE Hybrid Nightshade, which is under $31,000. This one I'm driving, XLE Hybrid, it's a little bit over $33,000. And then finally, you have the XSE Hybrid, and that's under $34,000. Now, there's a few key things to remember. If you want maximum fuel economy, go with the LE. LE gets amazing fuel economy, 51 miles per gallon in the city, 53 on the highway, blows all the other trims out of the water. Now, if you're looking for something more sporty, then look at the SE or the SE Nightshade or the XSE. The appearance on the front end is a little bit different, more aggressive. But if you want something that's more toned down, more neutral, then look at the XLE, which is the one I'm driving today. It definitely looks toned down and it has that traditional Camry look. So keep those things in mind. To conclude, am I a fan of this brand new Toyota Camry. If you are simply looking for a comfortable daily commuter sedan, one that still looks great, that has the essential features you're looking for, and one that is very, very fuel efficient, well then the Camry Hybrid should be on your shopping list because this checks all those check marks. You guys know Toyota is known for its dependability, reliability, resale value. Those things are still true with this Camry, and that is the reason why so many will continue to flock to this Camry no matter what. So without dodging the question, am I a fan? Yes, I do think the pros still greatly outweigh the cons to this brand new Camry. So what are your thoughts? Leave them in the comments below. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for my future review videos.